So once you get selected, and then it's time to start the training. And give us like an overview of the training. What's the pipeline start off with? What's like the hardest parts, and then where does it feel like you kind of level off and you're feeling good about it?
Every day is different. It's I explain it like being in grad school with just a more physical component to it. I mean, there's certain checks in the boxes you need to do. Like you need to get to a certain proficiency in speaking Russian and learning to fly the jet. If you're a pilot flying front seat, I'm not a formal military pilot, so I had to learn how to be to be an appropriate crew member, an effective crew member, serving with a pilot and learning to fly the jet appropriately and work together to complete that mission. You're learning engineering about the suit, the space suit you're in, or the International Space Station, learning all the different components, the heating, the cooling, the electrical components, how it recycles water, how it recycles urine, then learning how to operate in the spacesuit. We have this huge pool that has a 1-to-1 scale of the space station in Houston, and learning, because we don't have a way to emulate zero gravity on Earth, obviously, but we have buoyancy, and we can make neutral buoyancy to emulate what it's like to be in a zero or microgravity environment, and how it feels to work in a pressurized suit, to move along and replace batteries and work drills on the space station. And you learn geology. We go on trips to learn about various aspects of rock formations, how they form, why they form, what's important, because this is all relevant. If we go to Mars, we go to the moon, we may not be able to bring the subject matter experts. We don't need to be the subject matter experts, but we need to know and understand. We need to have a foundation so that we can go out, make effective use of the time we have to get the rocks that subject matter experts at home do think is useful, so that we can learn more about the moon, about the Mars, and bring that knowledge back to Earth to benefit humanity. So every day is different.
Does everybody on the team, do you get assigned to like a platoon or a team, or are you assigned to a certain group of people that you're going to go on a mission together?
Eventually you do in your career. When you first show up, you're what's called an ASCAN, astronaut candidate.
Oh, okay.
So you go through and you almost do everything together.
Did you graduate already from ASCAN school?
I did, yeah.
And that was the big graduation that took place in
January.
Yes. So once when you're going through that school, is that the initial okay, you're learning Russian. Okay, now you're learning about the spacesuit. Okay, now you're working in a weightless environment.
Yep, you're learning. It's kind of like SQT. You're learning the basics of what it's like to be an effective astronaut. But that training never goes away. Just like being a SEAL, you don't stop shooting just because you made it through SQT.
Right.
It's just the beginning of your learning, of your professional development, and you're maintaining all of that. So you continue all of those activities, maintain speaking your Russian, practicing in the spacesuit, flying in a jet, weekly, and then supporting ongoing missions. So if you're not assigned, which I am not assigned, there's a pool of astronauts that are always supporting ongoing missions, because that's the priority, is supporting ongoing missions. And right now we have astronauts that have manned the International Space Station for 20 years continuously. There are people, adults, where we have been orbiting a manned presence in the space station longer than people have been alive. And we are looking to go back to the moon in 2024 with our eyes set for deeper exploration to Mars and beyond. But it starts off with getting back to the moon and setting and deploying a sustained presence. So our jobs right now, if you're not assigned, is to support those ongoing missions in various capacities. And later down the road, if you are assigned, then you are, depending on the mission, you are working more closely with the other people assigned to that mission. And that might be like a workup. Like you find out you're assigned to a mission maybe a year or 2 years before, and you're working closely with that crew. Instead of a platoon, it's a crew. And then you go on a mission. And now typically missions are kind of like deployments. They're about 6-7 months. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter.